the Stinky Popcorn Boys.
We watch movies and eat popcorn. And you're stinky.
Hello. We are the Stinky Popcorn Boys. Just some boys talking about movies and how they made us feel. I am Patrick Basquel, and I love Nathan's hot dogs.
What the hell? I'm John Gilardi, and I think tea is horrible. Absolute garbage water. I don't know why they think British do it at all. But
I can fucks with some Earl Grey.
Yeah, well,
that being the quote from our subject matter today, because today
would have been
we're talking about
a good intro would have been Trent Grimm, but Patrick Basquel, The Independent, or whatever.
Oh fuck! Oh shit! We'll do it again. Hey, I'm Patrick Basquel, Independent. I'm The Independent.
I can't. There's something funny about the way he says it, and I can't remember. Trent Grimm.
It's so funny the way he says it, but it really is just Trent Grimm, Independent, or The Independent, and it's just that's all he says.
Yeah.
And it's the power of delivery and the power of repetition, where it's just it's funny.
Yeah.
But so today we're talking about the heartwarming Apple
Dramedy
TV show.
Yeah.
Dramedy. From creator Bill Lawrence and Brett Goldstein. I think it's just Bill Lawrence for this one. I think he's working with Brett Goldstein on a different one.
Yeah.
Anyway, Ted Lasso.
Yep.
Theodore Lasso.
Yeah. Ted Lasso, the show.
Saying his full name like that, Theodore Lasso.
Oh, it's like
That's a funny
Bartholomew.
name.
Yeah.
Bart Lasso.
That's it. Yeah, there's a lot of cool people working on this project. Like the whole soundtrack is done by Mumford and Sons frontman, something Mumford. I don't know his first name.
Marcus Mumford.
Yeah, which is pretty sick. I mean, I like Mumford and Sons, or I listened to them in college at least. So it was cool. I liked it. It carried the emotion real well, and kind of like, I don't know. There's a whole thing how much Ted Lasso reminds me of my friend in college, and he's the one that introduced me to Mumford and Sons. So it was like this weird thing that just like all fires on all cylinders that it reminds me of this one person. So it like makes Ted Lasso. He's already an endearing character, but the fact that like I can relate it to someone very directly. But yeah, it's like I just made that connection, the Mumford and Sons thing, to the show and to that person. But yeah, we watched Ted Lasso, a heartwarming show that I don't know. It's super relatable. I think there's something in here that everyone can feel, and it comes across as like maybe a slapstick kind of humor thing. It's like it's absurdist humor. It's a fish out of water. You got an American football coach played by Jason Sudeikis who coaches a Premier League soccer team in England, which is arguably the most.
It's a premise for a sketch.
Yeah.
Like I think even originally it was the premise for like a little. It was for some sort of NBC promo whenever Jason Sudeikis was still at SNL. That it was like a character that he created for. Maybe it was like a college football thing, like that he kind of did for a little bit, but not in like a big way. It was just like something they did as a throwaway, and then they sort of like brought it back. And like really committed to it.
Yeah.
Where it's like, no. What would happen if an American football coach, and why is he going there? Which I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
Is exploring the why. Because right now, I rewatched the first episode, the very first episode, the pilot episode, and I've got the second episode. So I'm kind of like, I imagine you're in the second season, so we're both like kind of like working backwards.
Yeah, I'm like midway second season.
Towards each other.
Yeah, I picked the middle second season arbitrarily because I think I'm going to rewatch the show actually soon. So I didn't want to rewatch the the first episode 3 times in a span. But
yeah.
I mean, right there. We're talking about a TV show that we watched 2 seasons of. I mean, it should be no secret that we liked it a lot.
Yep.
So I guess this will be us talking for 2 hours. 2 hours. We can talking to you guys for an hour, trying to sell you on this because I've been trying to sell those closest to me, and most of them have watched it and have liked it, and I need them to watch it again with me so I can watch it and share it with people because I want to see if it hits others the way it hit me, and I want to see it hit people because I watched it alone, and I want to share it in person with someone, I guess. So
I agree. That's weird. I shared it sort of with my brother, but we were in separate places. Like when he was up in New York, and I was down here in Wilmington, and so we sort of, like we both sort of watched it, but again, like without like, it's not like we like set up a schedule and like, all right, the newest episode's out. It's just like sort of like haphazard, and so there's like definitely something, especially about this show because it is so like emotionally grounded.
Yeah.
As well as ridiculous and kind of funny, where it's like, oh, experiencing that with someone else, and then seeing how they take it. Kind of like, you know, like how I talked about with like the Green Knight or with Bo Burnham's thing, how it's like really fun, the different ways that we took it. I don't know. It's just always an interesting thing, especially with something like this where it's like, you know, and as we go forward, I think you talked about how jumping to the end of season 2 or towards the end of season 2 where they had Rebecca, they paralleled Rebecca's dad's infidelity, Rebecca finding out about her dad's infidelity, and Ted Lasso finding his dad successfully committing suicide. I don't know the best way to say that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I mean, yeah, so we interpreted that differently, and even I'd say that's one of the extremes. And then you have the minutia, you know, dealing with grief or just mental health or how you see yourself in a room full of people, you know, and the pressures you put on yourself, or
even Ted's relentless positivity.
Yeah,
because I know that sometimes that like rubs people the wrong way, and I think that they've done a really good job of keeping it real, and I think that that's one of the reasons Jason Sudeikis is getting all this praise for it, because it's like he's still a real person, you know. He just is like, this is just the best way for me to be, you know, and I think it just strikes me as surprisingly genuine.
Yeah, I mean he's almost like this crazy bozo caricature, and that's how we see him, and that's how the players see him. And you know, even when he in the first season when he's like, hey guys, you know, it's Sam's birthday, let's get some stuff together, they kind of like, whatever, like, let's be a good teammate, but it's dumb. And like he's just like smiling in the face of these guys hating him, you know. But it's like you just still see him as that guy, and you see him kind of questioning what he's doing and stuff, but he just is that caricature. And like you're like, it's either the show's finding itself or it's really setting you up to kind of like start to break down this character, and you start to learn the depths of him, you know, or maybe learn that there's more to people. And then you contrast with that, with him being positive, and that he's being this way in the face of stuff, or all along he was suffering this much, you know, with his divorce, or separation, I guess. They were not initially divorced, but yeah, and then
they get there.
And then you even learn more and more that he's dealing with grief, and he doesn't know what he's doing, and you know,
unprocessed stuff.
Yeah, and maybe his positivity and his whole demeanor is him masking things, or a pressure he puts on himself because of what we learned, something that happened in his youth. And the show, I think that's how they really bring that character to reality, I guess, is what I'm coming back around to, is that he's ridiculous and super positive and almost like a walking joke at times, but it's they bring it down, they bring it back so well, and it's so well done. There's so many like quotes and quips that borderline absurd to borderline just being super smart, I guess. I don't know, something like,
they ride such a fun line with him, and especially because I just watched that first episode, so it's really interesting to see the like the introduction of stuff, and like how they get so close to making him just like a complete joke. Like he's got the still water immediately, you know, he's got all this stuff where he's like immediately fucking up, and he still presses through it and is still earnest through it and still honest and earnest through all of it. And it really sets up like a really cool tone and like the bass. And it's like And then when they, at the end of that first episode, sorry, John, I know you're going to rewatch it, but having that end of that first episode where you reveal just through his side of the conversation, where you have what he's going through beyond it, and that he is tired, he's through the thing, and he still does this so he can make this phone call, and that there's something more. Because again, we're not going to get it. We're not going to get it in this first episode, but they do such a good job, especially in the first season, of like, there is something more. Like, this is goofy and funny and silly, but we're going to approach it really honestly, and we're going to show you that there's something more.
Yeah.
Because there is something more. And like, that's kind of, it feels like that's like, if I were to like sum up the whole thing, the whole Ted Lasso show, I would be like, there's always something more. Like whether or not there's, like, especially with people where it's like, there's always something more that they're not telling you. There's always something more that they're holding on to. There's always something more that they're not presenting.
Yeah.
And it's like, that would be one of the theses, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I think it's expanding on that. The thesis of the show is just that people are complicated, and we don't want to be alone. We want some kind of companionship. We want to be heard. Sometimes we don't know how to talk. We don't know how to find that support. It's about that human relationship, and I think wanting the best and finding the best in each other as well. And I think that's why it's so good to watch, because it's an interesting show, because it's like behind the scenes of a soccer club. It's funny and charming, and then it really pulls these things out of you. I cried almost every damn episode, like it just hits so good, and the emotions are so raw and real and relatable. And if they're not relatable, then you're watching, and you're feeling for these characters, that it is so genuine and earnest. And I love the show for it. It's one of my favorite shows I've seen, at least in the last couple of years, perhaps all time. I don't know, but like, it's just makes me feel good. It makes me want to be a better person, which I've never had. The Office had its moments. Yeah, like The Office had its moments, maybe. With Dwight, like the earnest moments between each characters, but like this show is almost kind of like a dumb drug experience or something. Like you like go in, you know what you're gonna get, it's gonna bring up good emotions and sad emotions, and then you get out, or you stay in it. If you can binge watch it, but I don't think it takes away from it.
It's almost like
it doesn't.
It's almost like a weird philosophy lesson.
Yeah.
Like throughout the course of it, rather than like, it's an entertaining show as well. Kind of sort of like, have you seen The Good Place?
No, I haven't.
The Good Place is pretty fun too, where it's The Good Place is pretty fun too, and that's also sort of like the same thing.
Okay.
But it's a little bit less relentlessly positive, and a little bit more of like an examination of our place in the world and like how you live your life. And this is much more interpersonal.
Yeah, was
what I would say. But they definitely both sort of have this vibe where they're kind of like an example of philosophies as they're like played out in different. It's like, here's how this person approaches this problem. Here's how this person approaches this problem. Mm-hmm. And this like sort of like general feeling of life. And it's like, that's why, and then I think that's why it's like, it differs from The Office, where The Office is just like, hey, here are real people. And then the situations get more and more absurd and more ridiculous. Yeah. Whereas these people, and I don't know, you could probably say that like this is also like maybe a negative, but I don't think of it as a negative, where it's like these people are like almost examples, but they're also so real. Like Beard,
everyone's had a coach like Beard. It's so good. And even just like his relationship status, like
I literally had a coach. Coach is he was a coach. He was like a tall redheaded dude with a beard. He was like the outfield pitching coach. He was like almost exactly like Beard, really subdued. He was the third base coach, or no, he was the first base coach. But he was also like the outfield. He was just kind of like the tone guy who like stayed down and just like stayed cool and like I don't know, he got skin cancer on his nose.
Oh wow.
I don't want to say his name or anything, but like
I'm not laughing at that.
like,
It's like this like admission, like, and then not wanting to share his. I don't know, like where you're going with that.
Well, no, but he just like is exactly Beard.
Oh yeah. No, I think it's not. I haven't had someone that close, but I've seen things or like the coaching tropes, or especially of American coaches. You know, from very American sports, like such as baseball or football, specifically American football for me, which is what Coach Beard is, formally coaching. So, but I mean, I don't want to.
What do you think he coached? What do you think that he was like because he came over with Ted.
Yeah. If I had to guess,
do you think he like offense or like position or I don't know.
Maybe like a quarterback's coach, offensive coordinator. I also want to kind of throw out that maybe a special teams coach. Like that also would be the kind of guy Ted Lasso liked, or that'd be the kind of football Ted Lasso would like. It's good sound special teams play.
Where he's just kind of like a good guy who's like a good, or like maybe a development coach.
Yeah.
You know how they have that? Something like that.
He's a very good X's and O's guy because he's learning the game of soccer pretty well. He's trying more than Ted does. I do want to get back to what you were saying, how The Office starts with regular people and it gets more ridiculous. For this show, the episodes start ridiculous. Not always, but when there's something ridiculous, it typically starts ridiculous. Danny Rojas killing the dog, them practicing the Backstreet Boys song or whatever. There's shit like that, like
the helicopter coming in.
So it starts ridiculous and then it ends superhuman, and I think I like that formula better, and I think that's a more natural representation of people is like fun, and you see the facade, like I don't know, like there's something exciting and whatever, and then it gets more real. You get behind the layers, kind of as a feeling, not an actual allegory or parallel. But I don't know. It's just interesting you said that because I was like, how's Ted Lasso? And it's like it's the opposite. Well,
that's kind of the Scrubs model too, which is again over time Scrubs became more and more ridiculous, like every day. But their episodes would often start out ridiculous and then like ground themselves throughout the course of it, which is like all about how doctors like deal with stuff, blah blah blah. But anyway, that's Bill Lawrence also created the Scrubs.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So I guess comedy. Do you think it hits pretty good, or is there a lot of like duds, or like where's it hit you? Like I think the more you watch the show, if something's not funny, it's just that person wasn't funny with that joke. As a human, because as humans, you make a clip and it doesn't land sometimes. Especially as you get to know the character.
I would say
I'm not laughing out loud 24/7, and I don't think you're meant to. But
no, I don't think. Yeah, it would be exhausting. That would be exhausting if you did that, John. Yeah. It's okay.
I watched The Hangover. I was laughing a lot, and it hurt after that one. I think I talked about that movie.
It's physically painful. It's just laughing too much, not good. Laughing just the right amount, that's good. If you see the name Willie Dustis. Or Sleeve McDykel.
Yeah, trying to get rid of
that. I think that this it's funny because this is one of those shows where, because it is so, more than anything, it's grounded. Like, it doesn't have the over the top like fantasy elements of Scrubs. It doesn't have sort of the like fucking stupid wordplay of like a Michael Scott or some of the other stuff where you have like kind of wordplay type things. It's more like the reactions and the situations, and just like the premise in itself, the fish out of water stuff, the constant fish out of water things, which they do a good job of not overplaying too much, I would say.
Yeah.
Like
it establishes his strength as a coach of men, leader of men. And that's his role. Especially,
it's an interesting thing too, because it is that's what it is. It's like it's less than it's less than like I think that this is the best representation of like what a good coach does, especially probably at like the professional level, or what a sort of a director does, because it's funny because my experience directing Urinetown, not saying that I'm Ted Lasso, but it's like I had the same stuff where I would have people do exercises, like I'd be like, hey, listen, we're gonna do these like warm up acting exercises as a group to build like our unity, because that's like what we're going for. And there's a couple times people are like, yeah, okay, well, what does this do? We're community theater. And I was like, well, do you want to do a good job, or do you want to do a half good job and just show up and do the thing? I don't know, like, and so it's like, again, you frame it in a way, but that's what it is, where it's just like, yeah, you think you're too cool for school, then you're too cool for school, and then everybody else will do the thing, and everyone else is going to have a good time.
Yeah.
Everyone else is going to have a good time, Jamie Tart. Doesn't matter how good you think you are.
I got a quote for you.
Give it to me.
Jamie, you're so concerned of being being a 1 in a million talent, but when you're on the field, you're only 1 of 11. Something like that.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good quote, but yeah, I just like, that's really that fits into what you're saying.
Yeah. And that's what I think that's what's great about Ted is, we talked about Al Pacino and how I don't think that he was a good coach. And Ted Lasso is a good coach.
Yeah.
Even though
it's so funny how bad he is. Like, but also that's part of that movie is that he's an aging out.
That's
coach.
part of that movie. But then at the end of the movie, Jamie Foxx goes to him. I mean, I guess he gets rewarded anyway. We already talked about it. He gets rewarded for doing a bad job, and being out of time, and he gets rewarded with Bill Belichick level power, and that never works out. I guarantee you, it's not going to work out with the team that he goes to.
No, especially in an expansion.
Anyway.
Team. So
yeah,
who would, if you could, I want to buy a jersey, but if you had to buy if AFC Richmond player jersey, who would you buy? Like who would you? I don't know. I think you understand the question.
Oh man, I think who am I repping? Which am I guy? Man, I really like the guy that they pick as the captain the second year.
McAdoo?
He's not necessarily a great player. I like Sam Abasanya.
Yeah.
Like, clearly.
He's almost too charming.
Sam?
Yeah. I love Sam, but they write him so damn charmingly. he's such a good guy. I guess he's a good guy. I don't know. But I think that's like Sam and Roy as boyfriends are almost flawless. In a sense, like Roy is very flawed, but he's a very good partner and a very good boyfriend. So that's like, and that's not an original idea. I read an article about it.
Oh, you mean Sam and Rebecca, not Sam and Roy?
No, Sam with Rebecca, Roy with.
Sam. Okay.
As them as boyfriends for their partners.
Yes.
And so not an original idea of mine. I read it and I was like, huh, you know what? You have a point there. And like that, they're very like Roy. Even when he has his outburst, he always comes back and he apologizes, or he always like it. Like the conflict is there, and
it's because he's learning something about himself.
Yeah,
is a lot of the times.
Yeah, I mean his makes a lot more sense because he's learning, but it's just because you have both of them. But Sam's just relentingly like awesome, I guess Yeah, and so I mean that's probably my show's biggest negative. I actually didn't feel like I can see where it dragged and how it felt like it dragged the second season, and the beard episode wasn't an awesome location at the end of the season since the drama's rising, and it kind of feels like a break. But I did enjoy the beard episode personally, so it's like,
yeah,
for me that's my biggest negative, and that's only because I read it and I was like, oh yeah, maybe. Let's get back to jerseys though.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I would probably. Man, bro, I wouldn't get a Jamie Tart jersey. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there.
You wouldn't?
Not getting a Jamie Tart jersey. No. I would probably get, I can't remember the name of the captain.
McAdoo.
It's not Chester.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I think it's, oh man. It's a C name, I'm pretty sure, at the beginning of his name. Oh, fuck. I'm going to have to look it up because it's going to bother me because I'm so close to it. But I would get his jersey because I really like that.
I think I would get, while you're looking that up, I think part of me wants to get a Jamie Tart jersey, but that's also me seeing how far he's come and grown, and even like the hug heard around the world, just that moment. But if
those are great.
if I'm a fan though, I wouldn't know that. So as a fan, I think I would be a Roy Kent. I'd wear a Roy Kent, kind of be a
That's
legacy.
what I'm saying. As a fan, as a person of the show, if I'm watching the show, yeah, I would probably still get a Roy Kent jersey. Or what I would do is I would have a Chelsea jersey or something like that.
Yeah. I can't wait till they start selling jerseys. I used to like buy soccer jerseys all the time. So I'm gonna buy one whenever they're available. Did you find out the guy's name?
Isaac McAdoo.
Yeah. Okay. So I was all right. So you get him?
Well, it wasn't a C name, so I was wrong. It did have a hard C in it, but it wasn't started with a C.
Yeah.
Bro, we not talked about how freaking like attractive and surprising it is that the Rebecca is the shame lady.
I know, that blew my mind. Like I was way into
Yeah.
season 2 and my brother sent me something. I was like,
I didn't realize that until season 2. And I think like for some reason the shock had worn off for me. Or maybe I don't know, but I was remember it's like I'm watching this whole season and I'm like, who is that?
Yeah.
How do I know that face?
well, it's because you never see her. She always has that like framed head thingy on. So you don't.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes the hair completes the picture, completes the familiarization. Like, I mean, the face is what matters when you're trying to recognize a face. But that blew my mind because, like, I mean, it made sense. Like, Rebecca was kind of insufferable and a total, like, jerk, up until.
Yeah.
But she's also, like, very human, and she was going through her own issues and those moments.
But she wasn't that big of a jerk. She's like, I would say of the like.
Yeah.
Of the how many have you seen like that was like the thing of the like owners who are trying to tank the team, she's the worst at it.
Yeah.
Like she's not selling off all her players. She's doing a bad job of being the worst.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's because Ted's making it so relentingly hard, and then the supporting cast is starting to get on board or whatever,
They're like, yeah, I kind of like that guy.
So it's good fun in terms of that, and it makes those moments of them together even better.
It's good fun
because I think she has her own form of a panic attack or something, and Ted comes out to comfort her, and like that's a pretty strong moment early on in season 1. And then even when she comes out and has the big secret and he's super forgiving, it's good stuff. It builds up and it feels so earned. And then, what was the other thing I was going to say?
I think that's the thing that this is a strength at, is that there's so much forgiveness in this. And it's so funny that as we get to season 2, like there's so much forgiveness in the show where, I mean, all throughout it, Ted forgiving Rebecca, there's just so much forgiveness. Roy forgiving Jamie, Roy forgiving Nate, which leads to its thing. But it's just like there's so much forgiveness and there's so much understanding. That's one of the things. Like just to go back to like the Beard episode as we bounce around because we're talking about 24 episodes.
Yeah.
And the feeling of the thing, but the Beard episode in season 2, like. I remember being disappointed watching it and it being hard for me to get to where they wanted me to go, because I know that they wanted me to be like, okay, yeah, we're going to take a little break and we're going to kind of like discuss some like little or big themes here, through this, through Beard, and you're going to get to see his story a little bit. And I think my issue is, again, not that I dislike Beard, but I don't think that he was established enough. Like, he has this whole Jane thing, he has all that stuff, but I don't think that there's I don't know if that was enough for me to want to follow him, and I don't think that I think that was one instance where, even though it got to a ridiculous place, I think that character being so restrained, he stayed restrained for too long. I don't know. It felt weird.
Yeah,
I didn't dislike it.
I didn't,
but
I didn't dislike it,
didn't
but I
hit for
think
me.
for me, the shortcoming was with this weird relationship with this girl. Like, it starts off and she's at the club. And he has a fucking long night, and she's still at the club. No one goes to the club for that long by themselves unless they're like tripping on something. I don't know. So that just
I
felt
think she's with her
unrealistic
friends or something. Is the implication?
What was that? She's with friends.
I think she's with her
Yeah.
friends or something. Is the implication as far as I think.
Either way, that's not what I mean. That's fine, but it's just like, so he's happy now. Like the relationship is that story. I think was built, like, it's set up pretty good, like with his friends sharing the concern, and him sticking with a relationship because he's comfortable.
Are you gone?
Or
What happened?
whatever. Can you hear me? Hello?
The story wasn't good. I can't hear you. But
Wait. You can't hear me?
I didn't feel
Hello?
completed by that.
I leaned on the mute button. Sorry.
Oh my god.
All right. What was I saying?
You gotta. Where are you? Where are you?
I'm gonna timestamp that so I can edit that. 32 minutes.
It's like where'd John go?
Yeah, I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often. What was I saying? Yeah, so the
story didn't.
It didn't feel like like what was the resolution there? It didn't feel strong. Yes, we learned some things along the way, I guess.
But we didn't really. We
Or-
learned that he knows how to be manipulative, and that when it comes down to it, everybody's the same. Like, they go to the rich people bar, and they're like, "Oh, that." And I was hoping that he would learn something or meet someone new that would change his perspective, that would change the way that we see him. That's the thing that bothers me. That's what it is that we don't there's no change from the character. We don't learn anything new about him,
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean, again, you could go back to it just it's being a human being or whatever, and so that's the thing. But it's also like we didn't like. It's a TV show, even if that's real life, and like, that's the thing. Like, where you kind of sometimes you don't learn new lessons, but it's a TV show, and I want to learn more about Beard. I want him to go through growth. I want him to have his chance, because and I just don't think that he had his chance to do his cool guy jazz.
Yeah, I agree. I think there was a good. There's something there that they could have had, but it felt like a weird, like, let's make a episode about the Hangover in the Hangover. When they're like the crazy night we don't see. We get to see the crazy night.
Yeah.
And it was whatever. I still was fine with it. It was a weird episode. Like, I'm not like the rest to think a waste of time, which I guess but like, I don't know. Like, it was fine enough. Like, I watched it because I'll eat up any Ted Lasso, but I was like ready to get back to the main story.
Yeah.
It was a risk, and I appreciate that they took it, but I think the timing of where it is along in the season and the lack of resolution.
I don't even necessarily am bothered by where it is. I just think that because I love a good bait and switch, if it pays off and if it's good. Like, did you watch Mythic Quest?
No.
It's okay. It's all right. But there's one episode in there that is Jake Johnson and, Christina Milioti. And it's like completely disconnected from the rest of the story until the very end. And it's great, and I love it. And it's like I love that episode. That was my favorite episode. Because I didn't necessarily love the show, not necessarily against it, but that sort of like bait and switch, I was like, oh hell yeah,
Yeah.
Christine Milioti, yeah.
I can't think of an example off the top, but I have enjoyed that in things I've seen. So I don't know. I think it's because just the show's so good at what it is, and you're hit with such a formula. Maybe not so much in the story, but a formula of emotions that you're feeling per episode. So when you watch something that just jumps in a different way, and it's not delivering all those emotions, it kind of just is like, wait, what happened? And it also was a weird like B character episode. Naturally Beard is a side character, and then you have Jamie's dad and his friends who are very much minor characters. And then you have the three bar guys who are very much minor characters. And then you're introduced this like seductress girl who likes to collect pants and her boyfriend.
The pants lady.
Yeah, and then that's it. So it's weird, but it was fine. And I did like it because it was like this is some fun look. Like it was just like I'm seeing London. I'm seeing London. I'm seeing parts of it and an idea of what it looks like at night, even if it's a TV show. So it was like kind of a little interesting kind of cultural look at whatever, however good of a representation it was of these minor things. I don't know, but it was just interesting as another piece of it. But yeah, the Beard episode. I guess it'll be.
Who is your favorite?
My favorite character?
Your favorite side character? Because Ted Lasso's great. Well, I guess who's your favorite character? Because I guess it's a pretty broad show.
Probably Rebecca. She's
okay.
I just say she might be. She's like the main. She's a main character. I guess I like Danny Rojas because he's like a caricature. I guess it cracks me up because he reminds me of my brother when he was like 12 years old and full of energy, running in circles, saying his name or something like the Danny Rojas, and football is life. Like just that shit. It's so fucking funny to me.
Yeah.
I don't know why it just tickles my funny bone. And then,
I love that they did that to him in that very first episode of the new season.
Yeah.
Where they were like, they took that away from him and then gave it back to him.
Yep.
Over the course of it.
Football is dead.
And I also love the little hints, I think it's in that episode where he's like by himself, but he's like thinking about it later. It's like it's the image of him thinking about it later, but he's still with two girls on either side of him in bed. And it's like, even that's why it's like, even though he's going through like some like intense and emotional like trauma type stuff, he's still a professional footballer and is going to fall into the proclivities of a professional footballer.
Yeah, I guess that actor played real professional soccer and he had a career-ending injury. So that's that's why he was able to. That's what I also loved about the intro is he's come out like this crazy guy, super positive, and then they play that "Jerk It Out" song. And he's like actually really good. That was a cool intro. And then he gets injured. And you're like, oh, you think like he's gonna be played off or like written off? Like it was just like this weird thing. But I'm glad they kept him around. And I
like a little one shot.
Yeah, I think a character that was underutilized was the Dutch dude. He was kind of like a memory or an afterthought each time he was in there, just to like say super blunt shit. So there wasn't a lot of depth there. I'm sure they'll explore him more in the next season. But
I guess there's a question too. It's like, how much do they need to explore?
Yeah.
Those sorts of players, like
because there's like different tiers. You have Jamie Tart, Roy Kent, Samo Basanya, and then you have like the second tier in terms of screen time, which is
the guy from Wales.
Yeah, the guy from Wales, McAdoo, Danny Rojas, and then you have like the third tier, which is like you have the Dutch dude and the goalie, and then maybe a couple of the other guys, and then there's guys in the background. There's even like a trainer coach that you never see, like the bearded dude, not beard, but like a gray bearded dude.
Oh yeah, he's right there. He's got long hair.
Yeah, so he's always there. So I think naturally they're gonna, I think ideally they want to have the team be as much fleshed out as it can. And I think they've done a decent job of giving us about 10-ish personalities in that room that we can at least like get an idea of how they
enough
vibe.
So that when they come together it feels good.
Yeah. Exactly.
It feels like it like lands where it's like, yeah, they're about it.
Yeah.
Well,
speaking of characters, one we haven't touched is Nate.
Uh-oh. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
The man has the softest voice. It's like it's inside your body when he's talking. I can't explain the way that
That's a good way. Like,
he sounds weird.
I mean, and that's
He-
also
he
kind of like,
doesn't sound-
especially like in his personality, it's just like kind of like he's just inside you.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's just like he's got to get so close to you so he can talk to you.
I don't know what
Right.
it is, but I've never heard someone's voice sound like that. I'm gonna look up the actor's name. Nick Muhammad.
It's pretty.
Or-
What?
Yeah, okay, it's Nick Muhammad. I was like, wait, is that his character's name or is that him? Yeah, so Nick Muhammad, who
No,
plays
it's
Nate, who we're talking about. But very interesting voice,
Nate the Great.
the way he delivers it. Or maybe that's his voice, but yeah,
It might just be his voice.
yeah. But he's
It might-
he was the equipment manager, and then Ted saw the potential in him, encouraged him, pulled him in, gave him
Promoted him.
opportunities. He promoted him. He was kicking ass, and then he felt like, he wasn't getting attention from Ted. He was getting an ego. He kind of has a little bit of a bad seed in him, I think.
Well, he just wants so much.
Yeah.
I think is the bad seed in him.
Yeah.
Is that he just wants, and he wants to be included, and he wants to be on the level, and that was like why. That was such an interesting. I fucking loved that decision that they had at the end of the season, whenever, and also that they like put him in black suits and stuff. It was pretty.
It made him feel different.
It was pretty clear. They made him which is
His
it was pretty clear, but it's also like, oh, that's what his that's what he wants to be.
Yeah.
Um,
His hair getting grayer.
and yeah, I did see that.
Apparently,
too.
he didn't.
Like
Him and Ted didn't have a scene alone together all season. Obviously, as a choice of the creators.
huh?
So, yeah, I mean, his betrayal
Yeah,
sucks,
it's
and I think it brought
yeah,
so many
but I think
interesting
that
things in terms of the support he had, and it was just like a big bombshell of support of betrayal against someone who's been so good for everyone, and then to see how everyone had his back or the different ways of showing support kind of made you feel good and or even like showed you the power of being there for someone. I don't know. It was just cool to see how everyone showed up or the things they would say, or like the Diamond Dogs, how they know, like Ted only told them, and so they know it's one of them, and it's not hard to put two and two together, and the way they talked, like when Nate confesses about kissing Keely, and he's like, "You don't want to headbutt me, Kent? Headbutt me, Roy." And,
that was the moment.
Yeah, Bearder's like,
That was
I'll
the
do
moment
it.
I was like, oh shit, he's
Yeah,
going to the dark side.
yeah, and
Like, what do you think? Anakin's betrayal or Nate's betrayal? Like in terms of like
well, Nate didn't kill any
appropriately
children,
narratively
so-
built up.
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty similar. In
Yeah, I
terms of,
guess
like,
that's true. But I'm
yeah.
just saying, okay, no, we're not talking about the actual act of betrayal. I'm talking about, and that kind of proves my point, where it's like, no, it makes sense that Nate would switch, that Nate would go to the dark side or whatever. He would change teams because it makes more sense than that than because, especially in the context of we're not given that stuff. We're not given Anakin's like relationship with Palpatine or whatever. We're given much more of the Nate, Anakin. I can't believe I'm doing this, but the Ted, like Obi-Wan, where it's like Ted is Obi-Wan, and he's like the grounding force for everyone around him, and he brings Nate up to his level, and then whenever Obi-Wan has to figure out his own shit, we get to see, whenever Ted has to figure out his own shit, we get to see Nate feel betrayed and feel left alone and slowly turn to the dark side.
Yeah.
Whereas, again, in the movies, maybe I think that the Clone Wars maybe does a better job of this or whatever.
Yeah,
But it's like,
yeah,
in the movies, we're not given the turn from Anakin. It's just kind of like, okay, fucking do it, dude. Fucking, you're the bad guy now. And, that's, it's like, that's what my argument for Nate is greater than Anakin Skywalker.
Because we get to see it.
Because we get to see it and it makes sense. And it's like, it just makes sense. It makes sense to me where it's like, I don't like it necessarily, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Where it's like, he hates himself. You see it every time, and I knew that. I didn't like that whenever he spits on the mirror to hype himself up.
Yeah, it's
I'm
super.
Like, oh, no, dude.
Yeah, it was sad.
Hype yourself up. Hype yourself up by loving yourself, bro.
Because like he does
much,
that.
I would much rather
he
you
does
jerk
that.
off and be like, I'm great, rather than spit in the mirror and say you hate yourself.
Yeah. I mean,
I
that
don't wanna
gets
see Nate
pretty.
jerk off,
That's
but I'm
like
just saying.
that's a pretty dark, like Joker level, like kind of dark.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know how to put it.
It's definitely like
I think that's the first sign there's something
Joe
going on.
Rogan listener, like I can't think of another example where it's just like, I fucking hate myself. I'm gonna fucking prove that reflection wrong, and it's like, yikes.
Yeah.
No, bud. No, that's not the way to go.
Yeah.
That's not helpful. You go to therapy.
I think it was I liked how unresolved and how much was left on the table too at their moment of like facing it, And I liked how little Ted talked too, because like he wasn't ready for that.
Yeah.
He didn't have a good comeback because Nate was very wrong, but also
because it was
kind
new
of
information.
right, as new information to him. Like there's been so many times in high stakes moments where I just don't know what to say. It's like I'm processing it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to reflect and say like, was I like this? Was it? I don't know. And in this case, particularly, I don't know if Ted was wrong. So I think, and I don't think he'd be wrong to question.
And he doesn't
himself.
know either.
Yeah. So it's good stuff, and I think it'll be good drama for next season, especially now that they have the licensing rights, so you can actually see West Ham branding and all the other clubs too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they paid for a license from the Premier
Is that
League
what it
for
was?
$650,000. It was like a blockbuster deal. I'm like, that seems really cheap. Like the Premier League is like one of the most famous leagues in the professional leagues in the world. So hey, you go.
Well, but I mean, also it's like I would say this is an American TV show. It's a good deal for them where it's like they can maybe finally, not that they don't have a presence here, but they can have more of a presence.
Yeah, I think it only helps the sport and the league.
Yeah, because then they'll get a chance to promote over here. It'll be good.
I mean, they should do a swap where they can produce jerseys with whoever their suppliers are or their deals. Because I would love to have I want an AFC Richmond jersey.
You just want a jersey.
I do.
You want a Jamie Tart Richmond jersey.
I fucking bought so many soccer jerseys in college.
Oh my gosh.
It's because I was ahead of the athleisure curve. I love that like soft Under Armour material. And soccer jersey was the best way to get it without just wearing Under Armour all the time. But
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's a little life hack for you guys. I mean, now it's all athleisure all the time.
Yeah.
But go back in time and get you some soccer jerseys.
Yeah, just go back in time. Great advice.
And you'll go back in time, get some soccer jerseys. Love it.
I bought everything, and I had a few Mexican, whatever, I forgot their soccer league name, jerseys. But obviously, in America, particularly the South, there's a lot of Mexican American immigrants or Mexican immigrants, and they would always look at me and want to talk about the team. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I should wear this shirt because I look like such a poser. Yeah, and I don't want to seem disingenuous. So it's just a funny thing. So I have some cool.
I did that.
I have some cool Mexican jerseys, but I don't wear them anymore in public.
That's funny. I did something similar to that, but I do know about the sport and the team. I wore a. It was like this, like, it looks like one of those like, Sports Illustrated Christmas sweaters. You know what I'm talking about? Where it's like branded Christmas but not Christmas. It was a New York Knicks. I found it at a thrift shop. It was a really fucking cool New York Knicks sweater, and I wore that up to New York. And they were like, "Ah, bud, Oh, but I know, dude. And I'm like, what are you telling me?
How about the game last
What's
night?
going on here?
Don't want to talk about it. It's like the classic.
What do we do? Like, what is going on? And that was the only mistake that I made was one time I was like, oh, dude, you a fan? And I was like, oh, it's just a cool sweater. And I just should have said yes. But that was like the first mistake. But then all the other times it was just like, I know, dude. When are we going to get it right? Alfred Payton? Come on. Come on.
Like that Kyle comment.
Dennis Smith Jr.?
Was it
Come on.
McDaniels? Was it? I'm forgetting. It's like one of my favorite Kyle skits. I'm forgetting all the things he says.
Oh,
Anderson's?
Anderson's? Oh, Anderson's?
Oh, man, I can't remember. I saw,
Bro.
this is super random, but I went to a Zach Brown Band concert last Friday, and Devin Dawson, I don't know if he's kind of popular or famous, but he had this.
Not with me.
He had this weird long. He had the hair like Kyle, and had the same like kind of timid but wants to be cool gangster guy kind of like body movements.
Sweet.
And he was like on this stage performing these songs and having these weird manners and just like Kyle, and I couldn't. I had a good time watching that man, but not maybe because of his music, but yeah, God, there was
Because it sounded cool? You liked the way it sounded?
no, just like he looked like Kyle. You guys think they're the giants of this land? He's just muttering to himself in front of the fridge. Have you seen that one?
I think so.
Where they want him to clean up, and he like starts like using magic to clean up. I don't know.
I don't know, dude. I love those early ones.
Yeah,
The
good neighbor stuff.
Yeah, or the high five is great.
Yeah,
The long form high five, whatever it is. fucking classic stuff, dude.
yeah. Well,
I
mean, I could keep talking about this show.
I'm trying to think of.
I mean,
Bro, I'm so like this second season they left us at they left us in like they better be a third season. I feel like the first season they wound up in a place where I wanted a second season, but I didn't need a second season. You know,
there's gonna be a third.
I mean, yeah.
They actually
at this point,
they planned for 3, even if maybe the season was as big as it was. Like 3 is the story, and so now I think there's an internal or external, like Apple to the Warner Bros. Or the writers. They want more, but you know, we're definitely getting one more.
I think that 5 is good.
Yeah, I think 5 is a fair.
5 is the most. 5 is the most that you need to go to. 3 is probably good, even with a good show.
Yeah.
Like sometimes if you bring in new writers, I think The Office did a pretty good job with 6 and 7. But once you get to like 8, you're just kind of. I mean, I know that there's like various shows, and I think animation is different because you don't have to worry about people aging.
Yeah.
You know, because I think those are the shows. What else? I don't know what the longest running. I mean, I know that it's South Park and The Simpsons.
Yeah. Well, I know. I mean, I think Breaking Bad
and then
was one
various
of the
soap
first,
operas.
Breaking Bad was one of the first shows to be like, nope, it's gonna be over. You know,
We are done.
Where other shows will just. I mean, they end earlier or later, but they milk it as long as they can. But I think that's been a great trend. Or you have something in the middle where you have Game of Thrones season 8 or whatever it was, which was a weird rush job.
Listen, we don't need to talk about that again. I would say that if
I was thinking about it the other day.
Ted Lasso, yeah.
Just sometimes
if Ted
it makes me
Lasso,
sad. Go ahead, sorry.
I know, dude. But if Ted Lasso ends appropriately and ends good, they will do good. I will be glad.
Yeah.
And then there's some shows like The Last Man on Earth that I feel like needs one more season. It's not going to get another season, but it's like it just needs one more season. I think The Good Place also ended at 4 seasons, but by their own choice.
Well, as long as they got to tell their story, I guess.
Yeah.
Then no one's the wiser. I don't know what the expression is, but I guess no one took a hit.
None the wiser.
Yeah. Let's see if I can find a. There's a good Ted. I don't know. I'm gonna rip off some Ted Lasso quotes. if
Rip
you
off
don't
some
mind.
Ted Lasso quotes. I'll rate them 1 out of 10.
All right, let's see. I'm trying to find the one specifically. It's like I love people. I love meeting everyone's mom. It's like getting a manual on why they're so fucked up. Essentially.
Yep, that's an 8 out of 10. Great stuff.
Oh God, I was like having no problem finding them earlier.
Thought you had a list.
I do have a list. I'm just trying to sort through them. On scones, it's like a muffin except it sucks all the spit out of your mouth.
7 out of 10.
What?
I like a good scone sometimes.
Oh man, I had no problem finding these earlier, but here's one. Well, as my doctor told me when I got addicted to fettuccine Alfredo, that's a little too rich for my blood. Our goal is to go out like Willie Nelson on a high.
Nice.
Ice cream's the
7
best.
out of 10.
It's kind of like seeing Billy Joel live. Never disappoints.
Okay. 7.5 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
There's 2 buttons I never like to hit, all right? And that's panic and snooze.
Okay. Yeah. 9 out of 10.
I haven't seen someone...
Great Ted Lasso stuff.
I haven't seen someone that disappointed to see me since I wore a red baseball cap to a Planned Parenthood fundraiser.
9 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Great stuff. Thank you.
Doing the right thing is never the wrong thing. On Roy's excessive
Yep, 10 out
swearing,
of 10.
it's kind of like all the nipples in that movie Showgirls. Halfway through, you don't even notice. You kind of just get sucked in the narrative.
10 out of 10.
Oh, this is it. Boy, I love meeting people's moms. It's like reading an instruction manual as to why they're nuts.
7 out of 10. You said it again. But yes, it's a 9 out of
got
10
it right.
quote.
Oh, there's a couple I
got it
wanted to
right,
say I
though.
missed. But the last one is I like my water like Kyrie Irving likes his earth flat.
Oof, flat.
He's in the news recently. He can't play games.
He is in the news.
He can play games at away games, but not at home games.
But the team was just like, yeah, you just can't. You're just not going to play games. Good luck. Sorry, bud. You can't practice with us. You can't play with us.
So he's anti-vaxxer? Is that the whole problem?
Bro.
He's a lot of beliefs.
He's a lot of things. He's a lot of things, and it's very confusing. Honestly, I'm going to talk about Kyrie Irving here for a second. Just for a second. Give me just like a second.
You got the platform.
It would be fine. Obviously, you should get vaccinated because the science is there. Literally, if you actually do your research and don't get trapped down a rabbit hole, and if you choose to like trust things and know that I'm not an expert, but it's like, no, you should probably get vaccinated. There's probably rare instances, but the fact that it's been politicized is his own thing. But it's not even. But that's the thing with Kyrie Irving is that he's not even anti-vax. He's just not saying. He's just like, I don't want to get vaccinated. It's my choice. It's my body. I am a voice for the voiceless. It's just so confusing. His take is so confusing, and it makes no sense. Where it's like he's like, I respect all the people who got vaccinated and all the doctors who made it. I know that it's good science. I love science. It's great stuff. But I'm not going to get vaccinated because I get to choose. And granted, I don't know his life. I don't know his things. I don't know what he's going on. But part of it, he's like, oh, I didn't anticipate having to get vaccinated because now they put this mandate in there. And it's like, so now I have to do more research. I have to figure out what I'm going to do. And it's like, the vaccine has, my dad got vaccinated as a government employee in December of last year. And it is now almost a full calendar year to that moment. Mm-hmm. What research do you have left to do that you haven't done? Because it's been on the table for a while.
It's FDA approved. I think that's the final straw of like.
They're like, everyone's like, hell yeah, fucking take this thing. It's just confusing, and
it's
just
weird
like,
how politicized it's been. But
yeah,
Ted Lasso.
I mean,
great way to.
Even there's a lady for ESPN who just quit or got fired because there's a mandate. There's a company-wide mandate for ESPN, Allison Williams or something. And her doctor was like, hey, you're trying to get pregnant? Maybe don't take the vaccine or something. But in her like sort of comment, she's like, "Oh, it's because of my principles. I'm not gonna." It's like, well, then that's virtue signaling. That's what that is. If your doctor's like, "Hey, don't get vaccinated because that's a fine reason."
Yeah.
You know, it's just very confusing, and Kyrie Irving's take on it is especially confusing.
Yeah.
What have you been watching?
I don't think I've
Transition.
I don't think I finished Castlevania season 4. Couldn't tell you a lot about it. It's been kind of background noise. My girlfriend's more been into it. I have watched the show. The first few seasons I've been into it, but this 4th season, not because it was bad or anything, just didn't watch it a lot consistently, so it kind of made it hard to follow or pay attention to it. And then I've also been watching, since it's been such a devoid desert of viewing things, I've been watching a YouTube channel, City Beautiful, and it's like about city planning, and I've been like lost in city planning videos. It's like been my recent kick. So that's what I've been watching.
Oh.
What about you?
I have finished Midnight Mass.
Nice. I have no interest in those
Midnight
shows.
Mass.
Like I feel like I'm missing out on a phenomenon, but I don't care at all. Like I'm good.
Which ones?
Like that stretch
Squid
of
Game?
No, I watched Squid Game, but like that stretch of those like horror, like American Horror Story.
Well, you don't like horror as it is.
Yeah.
That's not your vibe.
Yeah.
And that's pretty. I mean, and that one's honestly, I don't think that Midnight Mass is your vibe.
Save me.
I don't think you're missing.
Save me the time of money.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Time is money, dude.
It is.
Time is money, bro. As the guy who would spit at himself in the mirror would say, "Time is money, bro. You're wasting mine. So you owe me money. Give me hey."
Poor Nate.
Shut up.
I don't.
Yeah.
Do I feel bad for him though? That's a question.
I feel bad for him. I don't. I feel bad for him because he just wants connection. He just wants friends.
He doesn't know how to do it.
And he's living in a system. He's captive in a system that tells him that being strong is the way to do that. And so initially when he's got someone who's open to him like Nate or like Ted, he's like, hell yeah, I can be a part of this. Gives him some strength. And then when he gets some strength, he reverts back to the system because he doesn't learn the lesson that being accepting and being a part of things and being strong for yourself.
Yeah, it's like very like he's like accepted his place. He accepted his place in the universe, as a lowly equipment manager and as like invisible. And then when stuff started coming his way, I think he kind of took it in a very world-centered view, like it was all happening to him because it's all happening to him, and I think that's part of his delusion is that. And when something changed, such as someone you looked up to stops giving you all their attention, then it feels like a major affront or major offense, it's a form of being selfish, maybe. I don't know.
It's a form of being selfish, but it's also it's a learned behavior as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
he'll get there, and it's obviously going to be.
He'll get there, and it'll be satisfying whenever he finally comes around.
Yeah.
Or Ted will have a lightsaber duel with him and chop his legs off and be like, "You were the chosen one. You were my brother.
I hate you." Which I could see Nate saying, "I hate you" at the top of his voice curling.
From my point of view, you are evil. Ted Lasso's evil.
It's such a funny parallel, but it's actually pretty good. It's like it's what we wish we saw in Star Wars is the turn.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's Ted Lasso, bud.
Yeah, another episode in the bank.
Another episode down in the tubes, coming straight at your ears.
In the pneumatic tube, it's coming to you.
In the pneumatic tube.
The pop. But yeah,
That was my new nat.
Thank you all for watching, and you can find us I mean, you found us, I guess.
You found us. You find us.
You can find us on other platforms, though, if you like.
Find us on other platforms, wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate and review. Send us telegrams. Yeah, we got merch now. We got shirts.
It's jtmerch.com.
Say that at the end.
I know. I need to start saying that at the beginning.
To say that. Hey, are we supposed to? No, I feel like at the end is all right.
Yeah.
Well, no, I guess people only listen to the beginning.
We've never done any housekeeping at the beginning of a podcast.
We gotta start doing some housekeeping. Hey guys, before we begin, we just gotta do some housekeeping.
Yep.
I'm a part of stuff. Here we go.
Yes, Mom. Someone calls your mom. I was part of it.
Mom, we're doing some housekeeping. Come on in here.
That's so weird.
Yeah, hit us up on Twitter. Tell us what you think about Ted Lasso. Tell us what you think about soccer. You should watch a soccer game. It's great on like a Sunday. Get some make some pancakes and watch a full soccer game at like 10:30 in the morning. Great stuff. I arbitrarily chose to root for Liverpool like a couple years ago. I was just like, I want to root for a soccer team, and I chose Liverpool. And that was the year before Mohamed Salah just absolutely wrecked the league, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm about this.
I'm a Chelsea guy because I got Chelsea soccer gloves one day when I was in Norway, and I've liked them since.
Yeah, well, whatever. I'm a Liverpool guy. I'm a pool boy.
A pool boy? Is that what they say?
I'm a pool boy.
Well,
that's what we call ourselves.
You can do
I'm a pool boy, baby.
You can do the Roy Kent cheer on the way out if you want. Do you have it?
What is it?
Roy Kent.
You do it.
Roy Kent. He's here. He's there. He's every fucking where. Roy Kent.
Roy Kent. He's here. He's there.
He's every fucking where. I don't know.
He's Roy Kent. He's there. Roy Kent. Roy Kent. Roy Kent.
I want to
Roy Kent.
I want to sound like a stadium. It doesn't work when you're on a stadium of people saying it. But
Roy Kent. Roy Kent. Roy Kent. Roy Kent. Let us know. Let us know if that sounded like a stadium.
Yeah. Do some effects. I won't. But all right. Bye.